8 reasons why maybe you're the racist. Referring to SJWs, of course. Hey, it's Prince of Queens, and I'm here yet again to try to talk some sense into fourth wave intersectional feminist social justice warrior types, because I'm sure a lot of them are on the verge of a breakthrough. So if you see that some of them are beginning to question their beliefs around the supposed anti-racist narrative that's been floating around constantly these past 4 years or so, you could maybe direct them to this video. Now, I want to make it abundantly clear that in my view, we're all a little bit racist in the way that we all have subtle racial prejudices. For example, I hate to say it, but white people often don't age particularly well, like Marlon Brando, for example, who is kind of the hottest guy ever until something or other happened to him. Ick, don't feed me any of that food. Still, actually being a full-blown racist means to me that somebody is constantly thinking about people's races and judging them by that instead of looking past it and towards somebody's humanity. If you aren't trying to actively judge people by the content of their character instead of their skin color, then you're a goddamn racist in my book, and I don't think I should be easy on you anymore. I am not asking people to pretend to be colorblind and like they don't see color, because everybody does, and not value the fact that different people have different experiences based on how they look. Rather, I just want people to try actually getting to know people without making assumptions about privilege or oppression based simply on how somebody looks. If you can't do that, you might just be a racist. You can have conversations about people's backgrounds and how they were treated as a white guy or a black guy. Like, I'm a white guy that went to school in a black neighborhood, so I like talking about race sometimes because I have interesting things to say. But, don't just assume, looking at me, oh, I must have only been around white people my whole life, because that's just not true. So here's some reasons why I think that maybe somebody maybe everybody that is a fucking racist. And I want to say what might have led you or these people that down this racist path. Reason number 1 that you're almost definitely racist is if you are a feminist, as basically all feminism is racist, including supposed intersectional feminism. Maybe even especially. I realize this is precisely where people who need to hear this the most will stop watching and think I don't know what I am talking about, but I promise you I can explain this very clearly. Feminism has a long racist history, stemming back to the first wave, where many of the women advocating for the right for all women to vote were not doing so because they were afraid of, simply not being able to vote. They were afraid of black men being able to vote first. I'm not sure what they were thinking black men would do if they could vote, past some measure where gang raping white women was legal as long as she was a divorcee or something. I don't know. But kind of racist, right? Racism continued all through the second wave when feminist groups and lobbying was basically entirely white. And feminism only attempted to attack its racism problem in the third wave with the advent of intersectionality theory. However, intersectionality is so incredibly flawed in philosophy that it is absolutely mind-blowing. You see, intersectional feminism's philosophical core tenet is to divide people's oppression into easily packaged categories instead of looking at the collective advantages or disadvantages of individuals. To an intersectional feminist, somebody is either universally privileged because they are a man as opposed to a woman, for example, or oppressed because they are black, for example. However, a black woman is considered doubly oppressed by this philosophy. And this is where intersectional feminism starts to get racist. You see, black men in the United States face many issues that, if we were to look at sheer numbers, drastically dwarf the strife of black women, at least in specific areas. The numbers show that black men face far more violence than black women by a landslide at the hands of either police or civilians. Black men are far more likely to go to prison and serve way longer sentences if they are convicted than black women, including from wrongful convictions, which they are also far more likely to suffer from. Black men also face much higher rates of unemployment than black women, and the list could really go on and on. Now, I am fully aware that black women face several problems, including some problems that black men probably almost never face, though it's really hard for me to believe after everything I just said, that it's like so much worse to be a woman, I kind of almost feel like maybe it's a little bit worse to be a black man. But I don't know. I'm not even black. But when somebody is so callous as to say that black men have simply male privilege, like it's so simple, and then expect black men to become black male feminists and start working for your cause, a cause which mainly stands to benefit white women, well, is it a surprise that you don't meet too many black men that identify as feminists? They might not know much about feminism, but they can tell it's bullshit. So if you think black men should just kowtow to feminism, that makes you kind of racist. Your disregard for black male issues is both racist and sexist. Reason number 2 that you might be racist is if you think black people don't have institutional power or social power or whatever, even though those are not clearly defined things. Like, what exactly is institutional power or social power? I bet you think you know what it means, but if you had to really define it, it would be a long definition. You see, when you think that black people don't have social power or whatever, that makes you kind of racist because it ignores the progress of successful black people like the Obamas, Oprah, or black CEOs like the black guy who was the CEO of McDonald's for a while. So if you think that black people have never had any institutional power, you clearly think that black people can never have institutional power or be privileged or whatever, because it's happened in every arena imaginable. So if you think black people don't have institutional power, it's almost basically as good as you saying black people have not and will not ever achieve anything. Reason number 3 you might be racist is if you use the term people of color, as if people who aren't white is a monolithic identity, and that various skin colors and ethnicities aren't their own distinct group that doesn't deserve to be lumped together, when you really just mean that they are all not of European lineage or white. You see, there's so many things wrong with this. For one, the phrase person of color is like one molecule away from saying colored person, which became known as a racist racial slur late last century. Secondly, isn't it kind of weird that you're calling like pale Asian people a person of color anyway? I've seen plenty of Asian people that have lighter skin than most white people. Third, saying person of color robs people of any individual ethnic identity in the same exact way that people say happened to white people when European identities were supposedly erased as, becoming white Americans, with the simple intention of uniting all non-white people against what these people seem to perceive as a common enemy, which is obviously whitey. They just want people who aren't white to unite against white people, basically, by saying person of color. That's kind of all this does. Think about it. The fourth reason you might be racist is if you think that black people will automatically side with you simply because you follow social justice ideology, when social justice ideology is precisely what got Trump elected. This one really gets to me because while Hillary Clinton would probably be every bit as bad for black people as Donald Trump, if not likely worse, there's plenty of potential candidates that likely could have been better than either. However, people voted for Trump and Clinton because racist, sexist, social justice assholes like Kat Black made careers out of being bigots, bullies, and generally just making an ass out of herself publicly. She said in her post-election video that she is mad to find out that white people aren't on her side, but then also that it doesn't matter to her because she doesn't need white people. Oh boy, oh God, she's such a horrible person. I have news for you, Kat. You do need white people as an individual for a few reasons. For one, I'm not sure if you've noticed, but the majority of your shrinking audience is white. Secondly, you will not have a career in black LGBTQ media once the trend of fourth wave intersectional feminism is done, and it's already on the way out. If for no other reason besides the fact that you pissed off RuPaul by lying about him and calling him anti-black. He blocked Kat Black on Twitter, for the record. It's glorious. Third, and this is what really makes you a full-blown racist and actually anti-black yourself, you assume that black people are so fucking stupid that they will continue to support you while you double down and go on saying the same stupid bullshit you always have, when black people can see very obviously that you've failed them. Expecting any less of the black community is fucking racist. And for the record, we all know you are putting it on when you try to sound anything less than a white-ass valley girl. You're a fucking valley girl. So stop with the ebonics or whatever. The fifth reason you might be racist is that many of you advocate for segregation blatantly. Segregated dorms for black students is racist. How on earth can you not see this? Creating an artificial environment where you get to be free of whitey doesn't help anybody. Not you, not whitey. It will make white students resent you because they'll assume you hate white people, and it will make you less prepared to deal with being a minority in a world where you will inevitably encounter mostly white, Latino, and Asian people. Get the fuck over yourself. Reason number 6 you might be racist is if you try to control people's language, clothing, and hairstyles, which is really just a subtle form of segregation, ultimately. Everybody has heard that non-black people having dreadlocks is racist appropriation. But did you know that some people even say that saying, "Yes," or "Work, queen," is also racist? Seriously, they are so intent on dividing people that they will police people's language to do it. That is racist as hell. We live in a world where I can chat face-to-face on my laptop in real time with somebody in Australia, and people are telling me how to pronounce the word yes because I'm white. How can you not see that this is racist? Reason number 7 you might be racist is if you advocate for double standards based on race. People often refer to this as the subtle bigotry of low expectations. People think black people can make whatever stupid comments they want about race and racism, like Cat Black saying that people only care about the Holocaust because it happened to white people or whatever, and people will excuse it because black people have quote-unquote lived experiences with racism, or because people don't want to tell her how to feel about her own oppression. Then, if a white person says something about race and racism, including something true, like talking about the school-to-prison pipeline, people will tell them to shut up and stop white-splaining. So basically, they don't just expect black people to say stupid shit, but they practically seem to want it. How racist can they be? Reason number 8 you might be racist is if you act like white people are the only problem, when in reality, everybody has a potential to be a problem. And the people who have been the most flagrantly, publicly, and disgustingly racist these past 4 years have been black people. Now, you might have noticed that in most of this video, I referred to black people when describing racial minorities instead of saying people of color, and it's not just because I think that saying that is kind of racist in itself. There's a reason that I kept referring to black people. You see, black people have basically dominated contemporary race dialogue to an absurd degree over the past 4 years, and many have gone above and beyond to abuse this privilege, which was unnaturally bestowed upon them with the help of mainstream media. Not just did Black Lives Matter become basically the only social activism issue that people cared about in mainstream culture besides feminism over the past few years, but some black people even went so far as to get mad at Native Americans and Latinos for starting hashtags like Native Lives Matter and Brown Lives Matter. They said that other groups appropriated the Black Lives Matter hashtag. Oh my God. I've tried to warn certain friends of mine who are, for example, light-skinned Latina women who are very good-looking, that they should probably not talk too much shit publicly about white people because eventually, if they stop having white friends, the racist-ass black friends they are keeping as company who inspire these Latina women to be so racist against white people in the first place will turn on them next. The black people will come for the light-skinned Latinas as soon as all the white people are gone. Starving piranha syndrome will always kick in with these racist people, and they'll eventually find somebody to attack once all the white people are gone. So unless you are so black that when you blink at night people can't see you, you might want to consider just not being racist. Drop me a comment and stay tuned.